That was the reason to develop the Dolby Atmos Composer, and yeah, well, here we are.
Hello everybody, welcome to a new edition of Threshold and Attack. It's been a while, yes, but nevertheless, here we are with a very special subject and a hot subject. The guest today is Mr. Thomas Fiedler of Fiedler Audio. Hello, Thomas.
Hello.
Yeah, why is he here? Well, it's all about Dolby Atmos and the Fiedler Audio Dolby Atmos tools, which are brand new, so to say, still on the market for 3 months. And Dolby Atmos is maybe the most discussed subject in the audio, music and pro audio realms these days. And enlighten us, why did you come up with an additional Dolby Atmos creation tool to the ones that are already available on the market?
Yeah, well, first because I'm a huge fan of multi-channel audio, 3D audio and all that, because I feel this is very necessary to get the full possible experience of audio, and that also counts for music, obviously. And of course also because I saw that there is still a lot missing in the existing tools from Dolby and also those which are built into several DAWs. And many people were screaming, hey, I would like to do Dolby Atmos on Windows. Where and when and how can I do it? Or people working on stereo-only DAWs asking, yeah, I mean, we have this, but we also want to go there and want to do some Dolby Atmos stuff. How can we do it? And if there were any existing workflows, they were at best clunky, or in many cases not even existing. So when I was thinking, yeah, well, what can we do to fix that, to give people tools with which they can actually produce Dolby Atmos from anywhere, in any DAW and on Mac and on Windows. And that was the reason to develop the Dolby Atmos Composer. And yeah, well, here we are, very well received, and many people on a great variety of DAWs are now using it.
Explain to us a little bit, so why is this so special? Because the Dolby Atmos Composer is, if I said it correctly, a set of 2 plugins. And yeah, what's so unique about that, and how is it possible that these 2 plugins enable even Dolby Atmos production with stereo-only DAWs like FL Studio and well, Ableton Live, Reason and the likes?
Yeah, well, first it's a plugin-only solution. It's no standalone equipment or standalone software which you have to run alongside the DAW. It's plugin-only, and as you already said, it's possible to use it on any DAW, even stereo ones like Reason, Ableton Live, Bitwig, and so forth, because it comes as 2 plugins. First, there's a Dolby Atmos Composer, which is usually instantiated on the master track, where you do all your Dolby Atmos mixing and authoring and creating and stuff. And then second, there's the Dolby Atmos Beam. This is a plugin which you can put anywhere in your session and send audio and panning from that point over to the Dolby Atmos Composer, circumventing the routing limitations of your DAW. Because we need to circumvent the routing limitations to enable any DAW to actually be able to produce Dolby Atmos. And not only this, it is also working on Windows, where there was really nothing until the Dolby Atmos Composer came around. It's the same workflow anywhere. If you work on Mac or on Windows, or if you work on Ableton Live, or if you work on Studio One, or on Pro Tools, or on Logic, the way how you implement or how you mix in the Dolby with the Dolby Atmos Composer is always the same. So you learn once and you can basically use it anywhere. And apart from that, another big thing is you can also listen to your mixes on a external speaker setup with a lot of speakers up to 916, also from any DAW, even if the DAW is not capable of of accessing directly a multi-channel audio interface with these speaker setups hooked up to it.
Yeah, so basically every DAW will be, so to say, upgraded to multi-channel audio production, music production, supporting the big Dolby Atmos monitoring systems. But it also does the complete opposite, because you can create Dolby Atmos mixes or work on them without any extensive speaker monitoring setups, which is also a very unique aspect to this.
Well, binaural reproduction is one of the most important, if not the most important reproduction way of Dolby Atmos in the music field, because most people will listen to Dolby Atmos on headphones. Very few people have big speaker setups. Some may have a sound bar or smart speaker setup or whatnot, but these are not the main amount of people. Most will just listen to it on their favorite headphone. So being able to mix in headphones is a great plus, and it's also actually a requirement. So you should always mix on headphones if you mix music, or at least do a big part of your mixing on headphones, because this is the way how people will actually listen to it.
So that's basically something like, how would you say, even politically, Atmos to the people, because with this you hit, what do you say, international, hit two birds with one stone, because A, you save on the extensive monitoring setup, and B, you are actually with the listeners, because what you're doing with the Dolby Atmos Composer then is exactly what the listener is going to hear. Will the whole landscape change big time, as now Dolby Atmos is available for music production, and also with your tool, do you expect a lot of material coming up from even more independent artists?
Yes, of course. That was also one of the idea, as you said, Atmos to the people, so that everyone can actually do it, and the entry barrier is, thanks to the Dolby Atmos Composer, very low now. You just install the plugin and you start producing on any DAW. So, and I know that especially the bigger the companies are, the slower they move. So that also counts for big labels and whatnot. So I expect a lot of interesting material from independent artists, from people who are just inspired by the possibilities of Dolby Atmos to actually involve people in their music, and that they now, with this tool, have a way to express that on their favorite DAW. So I expect a lot of things to come in the future. And there's still a little learning curve for people, because it's new. They have to think in 3D. They have to make up an idea on how to actually fill the space they now have. It's not the music is not happening anymore between two speakers, but it's happening all around you. And people have to get an idea of what they will do with this space, starting from recording techniques, from new recording techniques, and also mixing techniques, and using new tools and new ways to actually think and create a concept of your mix. Imagine how you want to sound it, how you want it to sound, and then actually creating the mix. And that means for many people, especially those who are already some time in their business, that they have to learn again to think outside the box and to learn some new tricks. Old dogs have to learn new tricks, but that's evolution.
Yeah, that's true. And you're about to add a new tool to the small family of the Dolby Atmos Composer yet, which is Spacelab, the 3D reverb that Fiedler Audio brought to the market last year. It was developed in cooperation with the Fraunhofer Institute, but now it will be, maybe you explain it yourself, it will be compatible with the Dolby Atmos Composer directly, and that will open up another set of tools and grades of freedom for placing audio in space.
I mean, Spacelab came out in April last year, so it already has some time in the market, and it was well received. Famous productions already used it for their 3D reverberation. It's not only 3D reverb, but it's an object-based reverb. It means you have objects in your virtual room, you move them around, you pan them around, and then they get reverberated, and this complete acoustic conglomerate, if you will, is then output by Spacelab and can be rendered to any speaker format you can imagine. And now with the new update, it's now already out there as a public beta, but soon we will release the final version. Spacelab directly connects to the Dolby Atmos Composer, also circumventing the routing limitations of your DAW. Means even in a stereo DAW, you can have a full-blown 3D reverb with just a few clicks. You instantiate it, the Dolby Atmos Composer automatically recognizes it and integrates it into your Dolby Atmos mix, and then you can configure it with a few clicks and bam. You have your 3D reverb with panning and with all the nice features directly in your Dolby Atmos mix.
This means also that if you, basically you're opening up a 3D space, a room. Let's call it a room which can be even bigger than the Dolby Atmos space. Am I thinking correctly, or would that be wrong?
Well, I don't know what exactly you are referring to, but I guess you are referring to the perceived room you can adjust in Atmos for objects and stuff like this, where you can select between off, near, mid, and far. Well, first, this is an option which is only available on headphones, only on binaural reproduction on headphones. It's not available in your multi-speaker setup because there everything is dry. Whenever you pan something in Dolby Atmos, it's dry by definition. It's just positioned, but that's about it. And with Spacelab, you actually get a space. You actually get that what you also are used to as reverb in a stereo domain. When you pan something in stereo, it's dry. But if you add reverb, then it gets a room to which the sound sources can relate to. And Spacelab does basically the same. So when you use Spacelab, you will hear the effect both on speakers and also in the headphones. And the interesting thing here is also that, of course, you have this near, mid, far adjustment for your audio objects in Dolby Atmos. But as you say correctly, this is always one in the same room. And when you use it, you always have the same room. So you cannot really say, hey, I want the whole binaural experience happening in a bigger or even a smaller room, but you have that what is prescribed by Dolby itself. So with Spacelab, you can go way beyond these possibilities. You can still have the binauralization. For example, in that case, you would put the sources to near, because then almost nothing of the room which is prescribed by Dolby is actually applied to the sound source, but it is binauralized, and then you can combine it with the room you want to have through Spacelab. So you can have your sound source in space moving around you or positioned somewhere you want, and you have the corresponding reverb. But this reverb you want for your music, be it a large hall, be it a small room, or whatever you want.
We will see and we will hear, most importantly, what this can do, because it will be out very, very soon.
Well, you can actually do it right now because the public beta is already out there. So if you download the public beta of Spacelab 1.5, you can do it right now. It's quite stable. There will be a few fixes in the final version, of course, but you can do it right now, actually.
Then, if we move on, the music and the sound, the audio is created, the mix is done. What is happening then? The Dolby Atmos Composer is certified by Dolby Labs. So what will be rendered and created with the Dolby Atmos Composer 100% goes along with the specifications of any place that accepts Dolby Atmos content. There will be the famous ADM file export. In the old days, like a couple of months ago, musicians and producers music producers would submit a stereo file, a WAV file, an AIF file. So now it will be ADM, and so how does that then turn into, a headphone version or being delivered to a Atmos speaker system?
Yeah, well, as you said, the Dolby Atmos Composer exports ADM BWF files, which is the most common Dolby Atmos, or which is used for Dolby Atmos, because it's not only Dolby Atmos, but they have a special version of ADM BWF with their specifications. And this contains all the Atmos channels plus their positional information and some other additional stuff specific to Dolby Atmos. And of course you can, as you also said, export anything from 916 down to stereo and binaural. And usually when you deliver that to the distributors like Apple Music and Amazon Music, you, well, in most cases you deliver an ADM file, which contains the Atmos mix, plus a stereo file, which is the stereo version of your mix for those people who are not able to listen to Atmos in whatever format. So, and the ADM BWF file, which you deliver, is then, recoded or transcoded into currently there are two codecs out there. Apple is using one codec and Amazon and Tidal are using another codec. Dolby is working on new codecs to improve the listening experience, but basically all these codecs contain a kind of multi-channel signal with spanning information, but they are compressed in file size so that they are actually that they can actually be streamed, because when you produce your first ADM file, you will see it's quite large. It can be, for a song, it can be go into the gigabytes. Why? Because all audio data are uncompressed, and you have all the channels. I mean, Dolby Atmos can have up to 128 channels, and if you use them, you have them in the ADM file. So it can become quite big and impossible to transmit, to stream. So they converted to some much smaller file size, and then this is transferred, streamed to your device, and the device then decides how to render it. If you have a multi-channel speaker setup connected, it will be rendered to the multi-channel speaker setup, or if you have headphones, the device will render binaural.
Okay, but this means that the binaural file you would create, or the producer would create with the Dolby Atmos Composer, is not a part of the story then anymore, because what's going to be transmitted to the customer is always the ADM file or something that's created out of the ADM file.
Yeah, currently things are handled like this. I personally hope that things will be improved in the future, so that you can also, as an artist, can deliver directly a binaural version where you actually control everything, and which actually sounds exactly the same wherever you or through whichever distributor the people listen to your music. But currently it's like this, that what you hear in binaural as a producer is more or less that what you can hear on Amazon and Tidal, because they use the Dolby algorithm. Apple makes their own stuff, so their spatialization sounds different. So it's highly recommended to create an MP4 file with these kinds of transcodings to make a quality check. There are several tools out there with which you can do it. You can do it either with the Dolby Atmos renderer from Dolby itself, or you can, for example, go to Amazon Web Services. They have some service in place where you can upload your ADM file and download an MP4 file, and then you can load it up onto your iDevice, your Apple device, and then listen to your mix actually as it would sound when it's streamed through Apple Music. This is very important so that you can have an idea of how the end product sounds. I know this is not an ideal situation, but this is how distributors currently work, and we hope to improve that in the future. We are working closely with Dolby and to see that things get more standardized in that way, so that especially in the binaural part, you have more control over it. But it's quite close, so don't be afraid to start doing your work, doing your mixing there. The outcome is quite impressive because you are definitely beyond stereo. You fill up a new space which you haven't heard before, and you can create a really great impression of music, which is beyond that what stereo can deliver on headphones.
And also beyond what stereo can deliver on speakers.
Of course, yeah.
The setup's there. Yeah.
Download the Composer, download Spacelab, try it out if you haven't done so yet, and get into things. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel because there are also all the tutorials. So if you need to know how things work, this is the first address to look at. We will also publish more and more mixing tips and tricks and other tutorials whenever there's coming more information, and in the future we might also invite some artists to show how they are doing their mixes using the Composer, and what are their workflows, and so that's a good way to stay up to date and to learn. And also subscribe to our newsletter. Whenever there's an update, whenever there's a new product, you will get notified, and we will definitely keep on developing more stuff in that domain, so that more and more capabilities will be added to your production workflow for Dolby Atmos.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So there's a lot of stuff to try out now and to look forward to. Then thank you very much, Mr. Thomas Fiedler. Bye.